Very important topic in ophthalmology. So, what do you understand by the word chera? Chera means cornea, and the word conus means conical, isn't it? So, with the help of a picture, I'll try to make you understand. If this is the normal curvature of the cornea, keratoconus is a progressive disorder where there is ectasia of the cornea. So, cornea progressively becomes thin and ectatic in the central part. So, can you see there is a increase in the curvature of the cornea? Here also there is an increase in the curvature of the cornea. Can you see that? So, this is keratoconus. So, when I say what is the cause, I don't know what is the cause because it is mostly idiopathic. Okay. So the main thing is it is a idiopathic ectasia of the cornea. It is a progressive condition where the cornea becomes thin and conical in the center. Okay. This is important for your understanding. Now, friends, very important question. People who had VKC or people who have allergies in their early life, VKC people, they keep on rubbing their eye. So people who keep on rubbing their eye, they can develop a change in the curvature of the cornea later in their life. Sometimes you also see Marfan syndrome is also associated with keratoconus. Okay, remember this can be a question that VKC people, children actually, they develop keratoconus later in the life. Now, friends, my question to you. Now, this starts actually around 15 to 18 years of age. Okay, so I'm saying it's a progressive condition. It starts at this age. And at this age, my question to you is, do you think that your power becomes stable? The power of the glasses which you are using? Yes. This is the time at around 18 years of age, we consider that the power is now becoming stable. But if the cornea is progressively becoming conical, do you think the power can remain same? No. So the only presentation, the very, very important presentation is a unstable power of the glasses. Why unstable? Because they have a refractive error development. What is that refractive error? Because of the change in curvature after every few months, the patient will have a headache, will have a eye strain because he is suffering from astigmatism, and in every few months the number is changed. More or less there is an astigmatism, but definitely there can be a different type of myopia. What type of myopia? This myopia is called as the curvatural myopia, isn't it? The curvatural type of myopia can also be seen in keratoconus. So they ask you a question, what refractive errors are seen? Mainly we see astigmatism because of change in curvature of the cornea, and there can be a type of myopia. This is curvatural myopia. Okay, so I see a young girl, young male coming to me with a lot of headache, lot of eye strain because of a unconstant change in the power. Every few months, the power is getting changed. Now, when such patients come to us, I have a suspicion. Okay, because I consider that at 18 years, the number should get stable, and he or she is complaining to me this after every few months. So, I will see first of the signs on the slit lamp, and I'll use retinoscope, and I'll also use an ophthalmoscope to see the certain signs. So, I remember all the signs with the help of a mnemonic, keratoconus of Mr. Vansh. Okay, Vansh is the name of a boy. Okay, so I hope there is no Mr. Vansh who is looking at this video. Now, so what is it of Mr. Vansh? So what is O? It is an oil droplet reflex. It is also called as the Sherlock's sign. What is it, guys? When I use my ophthalmoscope, because of the curve on the cornea, I see this kind of reflex. So this is oil droplet reflex. This is not same as oil droplet cataract. Please don't get confused. Okay, this is Sherlock's sign. So what is Flesher's ring? What is Flesher's ring, guys? This is iron accumulation on the base of the cone. Please remember, it is not on the apex of the cone. No, it is on the base of the cone. So this picture is called as Flesher's ring. Can you see this ring? Beautiful ring. This is on the base of the cone. This is not on the apex. Now, after that, very favorite question of examiners is a Munson sign. Please remember, this sign is a late sign. This doesn't come early. So have a look at this picture, a beautiful picture here. Guys, can you see a notching of the lower lid? So when the patient looks down, normally there is no notch. But because of the pressure of this bulky cornea, the pointed cornea, it is going to compress on the lower lid margin. That is why there is a notching of lower lid when the patient looks down. So you can say it is a late sign, and what is it? It is notching of lower lid when patient looks down. Okay, this is a late sign. This is not an early sign. Oil droplet reflex is pretty early sign, and scissoring reflex, this is also a very early sign. Please remember this question as well. Now, friends, the next sign is a Rizuti sign. Okay, so what is Rizuti here? Please see. Now, friends, when I show a torchlight from the temporal to the nasal side, I should have, a uniform illumination of my nasal part. But what is happening, because of the curve of the cornea, the light is shown in a way that it is forming a cone on the nasal part. Instead of having a full illumination, we have this cone shaped kind of illumination on the nasal part. This cone shaped thing is called as Rizzuti sign. Okay, now what next? So guys, this is a very important question. Guys, when the cornea is becoming thin, it is becoming stretched, can it perforate? Yes, it can perforate. And you also know that this is the Descemet's membrane which resists perforation. I told you it is a very resistant layer. So this Descemet's membrane undergoes stress, and we see stress lines on the level of Descemet's membrane. Please remember, these are vertical line. V and V is the mnemonic. Okay, so these are vertical stress lines on the Descemet's membrane of the cornea because they resist any perforation. So itself they undergo stress lines. Please see, important sign. These are Vogt striae, vertical lines. They have to be differentiated from Harb striae, which is horizontal lines in the congenital glaucoma. Okay, friends. Now, the next sign, when you do applanation, will you be able to the applanation properly? Will you be able to check the IOP with the applanation tonometer? No, we won't be able to see these type of Meyers because the curve, the normal curvature of the cornea is gone. So on applanation, we see distorted Meyers. Okay. Now, normally I don't see corneal nerve endings, isn't it? I don't see the corneal nerve endings. But what have happened here? Because the cornea is becoming thinned out, we will see the nerves. The nerves will become prominent. Now, a very promising sign, a very early sign in keratoconus is scissoring reflex. Now, guys, I'll just brief you what is scissoring reflex. When I do retinoscopy, I see a reflection in the patient's cornea that move with my retinoscope, either in the same direction or in the opposite direction. But what happens in keratoconus? In keratoconus, there is a scissoring. You see, the line is splitting into two. This is scissoring, scissoring. This kind of reflex movement is seen due to the cone of the keratoconus. So this is a early sign. Now guys, hydrops will actually lead to the perforation of the cornea because a sudden accumulation of fluid in the cornea, the pressure becomes high and there's a perforation in the cornea. So this is all the kind of the signs which you have to remember. But I'm again telling you, what are the important signs here? Oil droplet, Flesher's ring, Munson is a picture question here. Please remember, you can miss out Rizzuti sign, but Vogt striae and scissoring reflex is a must. You must know. Now, friends, how to diagnose this condition? So, how to diagnose keratoconus? I know there is a problem in the curvature. There is a thinning in the cornea. So, how to diagnose? So, first of all, I can do the keratometry and I can see definitely the curvature is increased. But this is not giving me the absolute diagnosis, isn't it? Now, I have a second thing which is called as Placido disc test. So, guys, this can be a picture question for you all. There is a disc which has a central hole here and it has circumferential white and black rings. Now, I go close to the patient and through the hole in the Placido disc, I see the reflection of this disc in the patient's cornea. Normally, I should be able to see beautiful normal circles on the patient's cornea, normal regular circles. But what if I see a distorted figure? A distortion means the anterior curvature is not correct. There is some kind of problem on the anterior curvature. So I'll see this is a very useful one, but it is only useful for telling us about the anterior curvature. What about the thickness of the cornea? What about scar in the cornea? Suppose there is a scar in the cornea. Here again, there will be an irregularity. So I can't rely on Placido disc. It gives me an information that there is something wrong with the anterior curvature only. Okay? Now, what is the one? So the most important one for me is the topography of the cornea. And the topography of the cornea is shown by Pentacam. So Pentacam is an investigation tool for us which is based on Scheimpflug principle. Okay, this is called as Scheimpflug principle, where colored images of the cornea are given to us, and at every point on the cornea we get two very important information. Please see, It gives me an information about the thickness of the cornea at multiple points. It also gives me the power of the cornea, the curvature of the cornea at multiple points, both anterior and posterior. So I'll get to know everything about the cornea. So what is the information that pentacam is giving me? It is giving me information about the thickness and curvature of the cornea at multiple points. So I will say this is my investigation modality of choice for anything in the cornea. If I want to see any thing related to the ectasia, I can definitely see that. Now friends, please remember one point. In cases of keratoconus, we always see that the most thinned out area is not the center. Okay, so if this is your central part, the most thinning, most ectasia will be here, just below the central point. So the apex of the cornea is not the most thinned out area. Please remember that. Okay, please remember. Now go again with the pentacam. The green color shows me okay. That means this is the pentacam of a normal individual. But let us see a pentacam of a keratoconus person. So guys, can you see hot colors in the center? Red colors, yellow colors in the center. So these are hot colors, means danger. Danger means what here? Let us see. So guys, can you see the thickness here? Levels around 400, 430. Don't you think it's a very thinned out cornea? Isn't it, friends? Very thinned out cornea. Similarly here, the curvature. Can you see the curvature? Here is the maximum redness area. That means the curvature here is the highest. So I told you very specifically, it is not in the central part. It is slightly below the central part. So this is definitely a picture of a keratoconic cornea, ectatic condition of the cornea. Now friends, what are the treatment modalities? How do we treat? So I'll say, first of all, when the patient is coming to me, I can start with glasses. What type of glasses? These are mainly the cylindrical glasses. But is cylindrical glasses serving the purpose? Are they treating the pathology? No, not really. I'll say it is a very temporary thing, isn't it? They are not treating my patient. My patient has a thinning of the cornea. My patient has a progressive condition. The cone is progressing. So I have a very important treatment. I say this is the treatment of choice because it is making my cornea thicker. So it will stop the progression. So I'll do first a procedure in my progressive cases. I'll monitor my patient for say 6 months. If this cone is progressively becoming thinner, I'll first do C3R. So what is C3R? This is corneal collagen cross linkage with riboflavin. So what is C3R again? C1, C2, C3 and R. So this is one condition in ophthalmology, guys, where we are using vitamin B2. Vitamin B2, isn't it? Riboflavin is vitamin B2. So it says that if we put vitamin B2 on the cornea of the patient after we de-epithelize, first remove the epithelium and then we put a lot of B2 drops and then we expose the cornea for say 40 minutes by ultraviolet A light. So under these conditions, there is increased synthesis of collagen in the cornea. Okay, so what will happen? The cornea, which was getting thinner, it will now becoming thicker. So it is said that the cornea becomes thicker by almost 300%. So now cornea has become thicker, the progression will be halted. Okay, so that is why I say that C3R is the treatment of choice because it will stop the progression of the cone and it will make the cornea thicker. Understood this question, friends? Please remember the keywords. Vitamin B2 is important, and which light are we showing the cornea? This is an image-based question. This is a picture of C3R. Ultraviolet A light is being used here. Okay. Suppose if I'm talking to a patient who does not have a progression. He only has a problem that the cornea is now thinner and the curvature is more. So I want the curvature to come back to the normal, isn't it? I want the curvature to come back to the normal. This is what I want in him. Now, going back to the patient where we have made the cornea thicker. I have made the cornea thicker by doing C3R, but now I want the curvature to become normal. Okay, so when I want the curvature to become normal, I have two options. First, a non-surgical option. What is that non-surgical option? We'll give RGP glass lenses to the patient. So these are special lenses, RGP lenses, rigid gas permeable lenses. The prototype is Rose K lens. Okay, please remember. Now, friends, if we put rose K lens for a longer period of time on the patient's cornea, on patient number 1 or patient number 2, who have no progression now, what will happen? Gradually, it will alter the curvature to the cornea to the normal. So, what do we have? We have a non surgical modality, but the only problem is it requires a long term, and if the patient is okay with the contact lens, okay, somebody who doesn't like to wear contact lens and who is not able to tolerate the contact lens, for them we have another option. So what is that? This is called as Intacs. Intacs is a type of intracorneal ring segments. We call this ICRS, intracorneal ring segments. So Intacs is a type of intracorneal ring. So guys, if you see that, you will come to know that this is not a ring. It is nothing but two semicircular rings of PMMA, which are placed inside the stroma of the cornea by doing a surgery. So guys, this is a surgical procedure, okay? With the help of femto laser, we make two incisions in the cornea stroma, and we placed two semicircular rings of PMMA inside the corneal stroma. So if it is oriented in such a way that wherever we have a curvature, we place it and the cornea will become flatter in that part. So this is to correct all the irregularities of the cornea. It will lead to flattening of the cornea. So please remember, somebody who wants a surgical procedure, a quick procedure, you can do Intacs. Somebody who wants non-surgical procedure, he can patiently tolerate the contact lens. You can go with the rigid gas permeable lenses. But please remember, if they ask you what is the treatment of choice for a progressive keratoconus, then first you have to halt the progression, and this will be done by C3R. Alright friends, so this was keratoconus. One question is expected from keratoconus as well. Now friends, a very rare anomaly which is seen in congenital cases, especially in Leber's congenital amaurosis, may be associated with blue sclera. This is keratoglobus. Please understand, there is a diffuse bulging cornea. It's a very rare thing and it's a non-inflammatory condition. This is also called as corneal ectasia. But here there is a diffuse protrusion and thinning of the cornea. So this is called as keratoglobus. So this was about the ectatic conditions of the cornea, guys. Keratoconus is a very, very important topic for all of us.